can we change? And the answer to that is yes. Melissa has built a great argument for why we need to change. And I would like to propose that we have a lot of these solutions already at hand, whether we're talking about how we generate our electricity or how we fuel cars and trucks and buses, how we grow our food, our buildings and how we build those. Are we going to build them according to energy efficiency plans, things like Earthcraft homes, LEED certified buildings? So we have a lot of things in place that we can use as we move forward. So we have these solutions at hand. If we look at electricity, we think about wind. US wind capacity has increased as we've looked at it over time. Globally, wind could supply worldwide electricity consumption 40 times over. That's really unbelievable when you think about it. Georgia, we don't think about ourselves as being really big in wind, but it does have the potential to generate 1.7 times its current energy consumption. So again, more than we need with wind power that would be really mostly offshore. Our topography does not allow us to have a lot of wind, certainly as much as we need, but most of that would be offshore, and we haven't really developed that yet, where more and more studies are showing that this is going to be the case. We are already benefiting, though, from the economy of, or the economics of this wind manufacturing. Right now in Georgia supporting over 700 jobs. So that's obviously a benefit to our state. If we look at another renewable energy, I always like to think about solar is never running out, and hopefully they'll never tax us on our solar energy that we use in our homes and so forth. But world solar installations right now, you can see, have just skyrocketed as well. That's been a great resource for renewable energies globally. In the US, we already have 85 gigawatts of solar energy capacity. That's enough to power over 16 million homes. So again, it's something that's going to be, we can use and use now. Georgia, we're seeing more and more solar panels going up everywhere. Georgia has the potential to generate 50 times its current electricity consumption from solar energy alone. So the Southeast is really big on solar, and that's going to be one of our biggest industries, and it's going to be one of the best ways that we have to reduce our carbon footprint. You can see this graph shows again that increase for Georgia over the years. It also illustrates that we had sort of a peak in 2015. I wouldn't say a peak, but a plateau where we sort of flattened out our curve a little bit. And that's due to the loss of a statewide energy tax credit for solar. And that's going to be something that we need to continue to work on as policies in Georgia and with our Public Service Commission and all, how we can do that. And again, this year we get to vote on some of those members. So that will be important for us to look at where they stand on some of these issues. This is really cool. So in Social Circle, we have our own facility. It was in Walton County, and for a long time we were the largest solar farm east of the Mississippi. We have lost that because so much solar has come in, but it's really nice to know that we have a lot of solar close to home. And again, Facebook is in Walton County using some of that electric energy. So we're excited. It attracts businesses. Our potential, you can see from this solar map, it really shows you that most of our potential is Southwest Georgia. And we're going to see that a lot of our peanut farms and large farms down there are converting to solar farms. So this is a picture of a solar farm in Plains, Georgia, and it helps us to rank 9th in the US for installed solar capacity. Now, some of this is coming from electric companies like EMCs. So Snapping Shoals has at the Pony Express, they have a great solar array there that they are using to offset some of their carbon footprint. So we're going to see some of that, but we're also going to see it by individual companies putting solar panels on their buildings, and then of course residents doing as well. An economic impact again is jobs. We're all thinking, what are these next jobs coming to? Our economy is struggling right now, but the fastest growing occupations between 2019 and 2029, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, is going to be wind as number one for a wind turbine service technician, and solar installers is number three. So these are good money-making kinds of industries that we want in our state. And again, solar is going to probably be our biggest. Solar, again, over 4,000 solar jobs now, at over 190 companies, whether they're manufacturing, whether they're installers, solar installation, or supporting industry. It's a big impact on our economy. This is kind of interesting. I put this in because it shows a graph of the electricity related energy jobs in Georgia. And notice the bar on the right is solar. We're almost 5,000 solar jobs. And if you look at the others like coal and natural gas, we're far and above those. Nuclear, which again, we've got a new nuclear plant coming online. Plant Vogel is adding some reactors there. We're still almost double that. So solar is really big for our economy and for our reducing our carbon footprint. And a lot of that has to do with the cost. So solar electricity in Georgia in particular has declined 38% over the last 5 years. And that's allowed homeowners, businesses, but I think, I was able to capitalize on this reduction in price. I joined the Solarized Newton Morgan program that was purchasing bulk. So I got a better price on my panels. And I was able to add some panels to my roof, and I felt really good about that. Being able to kind of finally put my money where my mouth is, felt really good, and it's paying off as well. It's been an economic benefit for us. So you think about electricity, and we would like to make it from renewable sources like wind and solar, but again, the wind isn't always blowing and the sun isn't always shining. So we've got to figure out a way to store it. And this is a graph looking at battery storage capacity from 2011 projected into 2040. And you can see, again, that graph is just going up. Energy storage deployments doubled from 2017 to 2018. So you can see we've really set a record for heading in the right direction. And again, part of that is price. Those batteries have come down in price, and that's made it a lot more affordable for people to be able to use those and have more of them in circulation for people to take advantage of. So we've talked about electricity and how electricity is generated, and wind and solar are certainly some great choices, solar particularly for Georgia. But one of the things that you and I can do as homeowners and businesses can do is really some energy conservation things. So we're adding insulation to our homes. We're looking at wrapping our houses much more tightly as we're building them. If you look at the Earthcraft and LEED certification guidelines, you can get a lot of information about energy efficiency in your homes and in your businesses. But one of the biggest things that we've seen is this influx of LED lights. People have really jumped on board. I've replaced all my light bulbs in my house with LEDs lights, and they really help us reduce our carbon footprint. And you can see that by 2025, they are projected to be about 95% of the total lighting market. So really doing a good job there. And that's reduced the need for so much energy, which has really been a big help. Conservation is key. And then we think about how we move ourselves around this planet. How do we get from here to there? I always think about the little Dr. Seuss, here to there and there to here. And we want to do it in environmentally friendly ways. And electric vehicles are taking off. Georgia ranks 5th in the US for the number of electric vehicles on the road. And you can see there a statistic as of August 2019. Georgia had over 100,000 electric cars registered. So you can see Georgia is taking advantage of that. I really like, again, this because it shows the effects of policy changes. And you can see again, around 2015, there's sort of that little plateau and the curve doesn't go up quite as rapidly after that. And again, it's because we lost a tax credit that people were getting when they purchased electric vehicles. And so again, that's just one of the things that makes a big difference. And again, vote and think about who might help us get some of those back in place. In transportation, we're seeing the beginnings of a massive shift to electric vehicles, and these companies all have electric models in production. So you can see it's all of them almost that we know about. Policy, we talked about the importance of that, and just September 2020, so just not even a whole month ago, the governor of California, Governor Newsom, signed an order banning sales of new gasoline cars by 2035. So that means they will really be pushing electric vehicles after that point. They won't get gasoline powered cars off the road, but the new ones that are being sold will be electric vehicles. So that is going to be a really important thing. You can see it's the most massive clean car policy in the United States. And we're not surprised that it's coming out of California, but we hope other states will also take advantage and kind of follow in their footsteps. I think the thing we worry about the most when we think about whether we're going to buy an electric car or not, I hope I do get to buy one in my lifetime. I'm planning my next one to be electric vehicle. I don't have one yet. But one of the things I think about is how far will those electric cars go if I want to take them on the road to visit my friends and my family. And I think about those infrastructure, those charging stations, where they're going to be located. How am I going to get my charge when I need it? Right now in Newton County, we already have several locations. So Georgia Piedmont on Alcovey Road across from the sheriff's office there has several stations there. Oxford College has several stations over in Oxford, and the city of Covington is thinking about adding one in the city. Hopefully that'll be pretty close to downtown so people can take advantage of the restaurants and nice things to eat. I charged recently with my brother-in-law who has an electric vehicle at Panola Road, and it was a huge station with tons of charging stations, and they were those super speeders. So it only took him about 45 minutes to get a full charge. It was really cool. We don't think about agriculture, but really how we grow our food makes a big impact on our carbon footprint. It's kind of hard to wrap ourselves around that because we don't see that as a relation to carbon emissions. But in 2019, the UN International Panel on Climate Change said that agricultural activities were responsible for almost a fourth of our global greenhouse gas emissions. So it's a big impact on our carbon footprint. Georgia's our number1 industry is our agribusiness. So we are a big agricultural state with over $75 billion in economic impact every year from our agribusiness. And we think about things like our peaches, our chickens, our pecans, blueberries. And we had to cross through pecans because for the second year in a row, New Mexico is the nation's top pecan, if you'd rather hear it that way, producer over us. So we've lost our #1 status for pecans. And again, it's the hurricanes that came through 2018, 2016, and also the droughts that we had last year that Melissa mentioned as well. These kinds of things hurt our agricultural business, but it's still a big economy for us. So what can we do to make our agricultural less of an impact on our carbon footprint? Regenerative agricultural practices can help us reduce our carbon footprint in a big way. The Rodale Institute says that if we convert all global croplands and pastures to regenerative agriculture, we could sequester more than 100% of our current carbon dioxide emissions. Y'all, that's unbelievable. And when you look at the list there of what regenerative agricultural practices really are, you can see it's organic farming, basically. So if we can get more and more farms, large and small, to use this type of agriculture, we'll be doing a great service to our carbon footprint. The Rodale Institute actually has the longest running side-by-side comparison of organic and conventional farming in North America. They call it their farming systems trial. And what they have found is that these organic regenerative systems use 45% less energy than conventional agricultural does, release 40% fewer carbon dioxide emissions. I hope I said 45 the first time, but anyway, but also sequestering carbon. So keeping it in the soils by doing things like not low till or no till farming. These kinds of things are going to make a difference. Project Drawdown, that Maurice is going to talk to you about in a minute, has estimated that regenerative agriculture could remove an astonishing 23.15 gigatons of carbon dioxide from our atmosphere by 2050. So we could actually suck down carbon out of our atmosphere. And that's really one of the things we think about. A lot of people say we're running out of time to really reduce our carbon footprint. But what we know is that it's all about how much carbon's in the atmosphere. And we really need to think about reducing that to, just the 350 parts per million of carbon dioxide that many of our expert scientists have been big impact. So can we change? Yes. Whether we're talking about our electricity, or whether we're talking about the way we run our home, or whether we're talking about what we're running our cars and our trucks on, our agriculture. We have the technologies at hand to make an impact now.